Live once again. Hello and welcome to the Prince Magnum channel where hot rodding and romance do coexist. I'm your host, Prince Magnum. Welcome to Surviving Romance. However, this is the first Surviving Romance where we're going to do things a little differently. Princess Faye is at work and she won't be here to enjoy this, but I got to take care of my blood sugar. There's nothing I can just throw in the microwave, so I got to do some cooking. For the record, I hate cooking for myself. Uh, I don't enjoy cooking just for me. So, again, if you see me working over here, I'm not going to be able to see the chat over here. But I will take a few questions. I can't stay on for super long because my blood sugar is getting a little low and I just got to take care of me. Okay, so let's get this party started, all right? First things first, I'm finishing topping off my my pasta pot here. Just basically an 8-quart stock pot, aluminum. And I have a pound of spaghetti. Now, I know what some of you are saying. Oh, Prince Magnum, time for some spaghetti. Not the spaghetti you're thinking. Princess Faye is not a huge fan of this recipe, which is perfect time for me to make it for myself. Okay? Now, first things first, I've got nearly a gallon of water in my pot. I didn't properly measure, but who gives a crud, right? And I'm going to season very heavily with my pink Himalayan salt. Normally, when I'm doing pasta here at home, I will do black Hawaiian because that's what Princess Faye likes, but she's not here. So, since she's not here, I do what I want. Right? All right, the next thing. While we're waiting for this to come to a boil, and it has to come to a full rolling boil, be sure to grab your spring-loaded tongs, okay? If you don't have any of these, it's perfectly okay. Hang on a second. I'll find it. Again, for those who do not know, just get yourself a good pasta spoon. Even something like this would work, okay? But the ones that have the slots cut out in the side, for some reason I'm not finding mine. But normally it's got like these little slots cut out, like right along here, okay? And sometimes has a hole right here. Plastic, metal, it doesn't matter, okay? One of those will work just fine too, okay? So I prefer the spring-loaded tongs, at least in the early stages, and you'll see why, okay? If you're following along, decide you're gonna make supper along with this video, let me go ahead and tell you again, a pound of pasta, okay, of regular spaghetti noodles, just Durham wheat, nothing special, nothing fancy there, okay? I have 1 Vidalia onion that has been cut up into small little pieces, and some homemade cut up pickled garlic, about 5 cloves to be exact. And when I say homemade, I really did make homemade pickled garlic, okay? And while you're at it, go ahead and get a half a cup of the reserve pickle juice from your homemade, and maybe along with some, hang on, regular olive oil or extra virgin, depending on if you're having company, and about a half a teaspoon, basically, a 1-to-1 ratio for your oil and vinegar mixture. So a half a cup of your vinegar, your vinegar brine solution for your pickled garlic, and a half a cup of the olive oil. You can tell my blood sugar's getting a little low, and then about a quarter of a teaspoon to half a teaspoon of mustard powder. When I say mustard powder, it literally, that's all it looks like. Okay? We're back again. I apologize. I will give you 2 guesses. What cut into the live stream takes about 5 minutes. Yeah, Princess Faye called. And pretty much, pretty well killed the live stream. I'm hoping people rejoin. It's hard to say. If she did kill it, well, I guess I should have called her first. But okay, right now, again, let's recap where we were at. Working on a pot of boiling water. 8 quarts, 8-quart stock pot. A pound of just regular spaghetti, durum wheat pasta. 1 Vidalia onion, cut up nice and small. Pickled garlic that I made myself. Thank you very much. A half a cup of the reserve brine from the pickled garlic, and a half a cup of just regular olive oil, classic. It doesn't have to be anything super fancy. And a quarter to a half a teaspoon of mustard powder, along with a lot of freshly ground black pepper. You can buy this at the dollar store. Thank you very much. Okay, so we got that covered. So right now I'm bringing this this particular pan up to kind of a low heat. We're going to add some vegetable oil. Okay, we're going to add just a small amount of vegetable oil. Okay, not a whole lot. And basically when it starts to shimmer, by the way, I want to thank Bert TV for donating this. You know, he did that some time back, and as you can tell, we have used it. Thank goodness. All right. So, as this begins to come up to a nice heat, starts to shimmer a little bit, we're going to add the onions and the garlic in, and we're going to do a sweat, not a saute. Kind of hard to explain. I'll do my best. A sweat is a low heat method where you coat it up with oil of some sort, and a little bit of salt. Draw out the moisture, concentrate the flavors. When the onions start turning a translucent color, that's exactly what I want to see. I don't want to see anything other than that. Okay. If it starts turning kind of a brownish color, or you hear a lot of heavy sizzling, turn your heat down. Or, as you've all heard me say before, you know, when it starts turning brown, turn it down. Okay, when you're doing a sweat. A saute is a little bit different. I believe, roughly translated from French, it has something to do with jumping, which you're moving it around a lot. Okay. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to go ahead and add our onions and pickled garlic right in. And again, we're just going to get them good and coated up. All right. And here in just a second, we're going to add a nice pinch of salt. Now, I'm also going to say something again, and you've all heard me say this repeatedly. Cooks don't salt food to make them taste salty. They salt them to enhance the flavors. If you've never had anything like this, you're missing out. Okay. Now, again, it's going to be kind of hard for me to see the chat and that sort of thing. Right now, this is just a very, we're just getting a good sweat. Okay, just a good sweat. All right. And we've got our vinaigrette on standby. Right now, we've got a nice boil coming up. I think I'm going to go ahead and wait just a moment longer. Again, my stovetop sucks, okay? And I don't, my cats fart with more heat than this thing puts out, but, you know. So that's what we're waiting on right now before we begin on the pasta. Now, real quick, when you're one of my favorite cooks of all time, Chef Alton Brown of Good Eats on the Food Network, he says that if you do a pound of pasta, you need to do 1 gallon of water, and you have to have a tall pot like this, and with your you know, long pastas like this, I would definitely agree with him. But none of all of us are going to run out and buy an 8-quart stock pot just to make a pound of pasta. Just get a good sized pot, okay? It doesn't. If it's, you know, other types of, you know, shorter pastas, you know, like your rotini, you know, ziti, you know, something to that effect. You know, and I think you all know where I'm going with this. If it's something like that, a regular pot will do just fine, as long as you got enough room and you're not going to get boilovers, which we're going to do our best not to let happen. Hopefully, you all will get to see a boilover not happen. We're just going to use some different techniques. I will not be using oil because, to me, that's a waste. The oil doesn't do anything in this case. But you all will see exactly what we're going for. We're getting close. Anyhow, again, my stovetop sucks. Which it'll be a little difficult for me to see the translucent color that I'm looking for. Okay. But I love a challenge. Now, right now, Princess Faye is stuck at work, and when she leaves work, she'll be house sitting for a friend of ours, well, a couple friends of ours, and you know, so she won't be home for this. She's gonna miss out. But you know, it's one of those things. This, you know, I'm just taking care of me, and since she's not going to be here, she hates regular spaghetti, or what I like to call spaghetti. I'm going to let you all in on a nice little secret. The spaghetti and meat sauce that we think of here in this country is not what it is in Italy. Ah, there it goes. It's not what everyone thinks of. Okay? Spaghetti, like what we're going to be using, is usually rolled with an oil and cheese and things like that. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Okay? We're going to do it as the Italians would. Okay? No heavy meat sauces. If you want to do a heavy meat sauce, here, hang on a second. Here. This is actually more like it. Just a cut ziti or rotini or something to that effect. Works just fine for your heavy meat sauces. Okay? Which we have already done here on the Prince Magnum channel. Alright, I don't know how well you all can hear it, but notice that the sizzling is light. It's not heavy on this, okay? And we don't want heavy sizzling here, okay? We don't want a heavy sizzle. Just a light sizzle, okay? We just want to concentrate those flavors. We're not actually looking to brown anything, okay? Again, that saying, if it's brown, turn it down, okay? Because by the time you're ready for it, it would be burned. And that's not a good thing, okay? Again, I hope you all have a stove better than mine. Now, again, also note that I'm not dumping a lot of flavors into this. Spaghetti can be made simple, okay? It can just be made simple, okay? And for those who don't like making heavy meat sauces, or if you're like me, and you don't trust what's in a can or a jar because of all the preservatives that look like the pronunciation should be on the back of a paint can, this is an easier, simpler version of just spaghetti, okay? Also, for our vegan friends out there, well, we'll get to that in a minute, okay? For my vegan friends, because we're going to be using ham in this, but I'm going to show you a nicer, more healthier alternative for our vegan friends who do not eat meat, okay? So we're going to cover that. And again, also note that pretty much even though there is one thing that will, you know, that is a meat product, you can easily trade it out for one ingredient and it'll still be a vegan dish, okay? You know what? I think we have gotten about as much, we're as close to our thermal destination as you can get. Now, whatever you do, please do not do like some people do in this dang country and ruin pasta like this, okay? Please note, this is why we have the pot that we have. Fan it out. Fan it out. Don't snap it and drop it in there, okay? Give it a moment for the heat to start soaking in. Take your tongs or your pasta spoon and start slowly, gently working it into the pot, okay? Slowly and gently. We're not looking to break it, okay? Gently. And once it's submerged, you're just going to take it easy, okay? And we're going to keep an eye on this, occasionally coming back, checking on it. But do not wander off or you could have a boil over, okay? That's not to say that it couldn't happen here, but we're going to do our best to prevent such a thing, okay? So there we go. We clamp on the lid. Keep an eye on it, okay? And I believe our veggies have gone as far as they can go. Again, onions. You could also do the throw in some if you want to really kind of kick it up a little bit. You could throw in some carrots and celery, and you would have what the French call mirepoix. Onions, carrots, and celery. Or if you want to do an Italian thing, straight up Italian, you could also just take out the celery and put in red pepper, and you would have something very Italian, or a Trinity as they do in Louisiana. Okay? For those of us who are freaking nerds when it comes to food. Oh man. I don't get to do 2 live streams in a day. Now, when it comes time to check for doneness, we're going to do something very, very simple, very, very easy. All right, we're pretty well done with the sweat. We're just going to let it sit, okay? It's not going anywhere. I don't think it is. God, I hope not. It's onions. That'd be weird. Okay. So we're just going to leave that right there. Right there. Right over here, I have just your regular store-bought ham. I'm going to put a good-sized handful in this. Now would also be a time to have some sort of bowl on standby. Glass or wood would be, glass would be better in this case, but metal is fine, okay? It's just me right now. Again, nothing super fancy. Have your colander also on standby, okay? And I'm going to show you all a cool trick with a stock pot of this size, how to drain it, not burn yourself, and you don't have to set it in the sink, all that cool stuff. I'm going to show you all some cool tricks, and we're just going to have some fun. There we go, nice rolling boil. Don't worry, we're not having a boil over. Again, if you don't keep spring-loaded tongs around, I mean, you really should. They're great in a pinch. Oh man, that's great. I love that joke. I never get tired of that joke. I even use that one at work. Okay. As we start getting closer to that doneness area, okay? I've seen guys smash pasta against the wall, okay? I've seen them smash it under table legs. It gets ridiculous. Some of the things that people do to check for doneness on pasta. Folks, it's not that hard. All you have to do is taste it. It's really that easy. I'm not kidding you. You just taste it. There we go. Now, we didn't get that far. Woo, that's why I said don't wander off. Okay? Because it doesn't take but a moment. Now, now, if it starts trying to climb like that, now's also a time to turn it down a little bit. Slow your boil. As you sometimes hear me jokingly say, slow your boil, okay? I can tell you just by looking at this, it needs a little bit more cooking, okay? And you can adjust your heat. Temperature management, folks. How many times y'all hear me say this? Now, again, why people, one of the things, why people try to complicate something so simple. I've been in the store, I've seen parboiled pastas, I've seen kind of pasta in a bag. It really doesn't take that long unless you're like me and you have a stove that sucks. I don't, you know, I don't know what the hassle is with it. I see people who, that will buy the the pot size, regular pot size pasta. Honestly, folks, I mean, one of these is cheap, but if you don't want to do that, again, in that case, I would just switch over to a different type of pasta. I mean, seriously, okay? Because what could sometimes happen with your pasta is it won't separate, and I've seen in some cases, ow. This has about a minute to go. About a minute. You want it where it's still just chewy, something where the teeth can kind of still get a hold of it. Unless you like mush. I've met some people like that. It's like, just throw it in a puree machine. Dang, But anyhow, even despite the stove, kind of sucking a little bit, it really doesn't take that long to make a pound of pasta, really. I mean, under normal circumstances to do, getting all the ingredients together, can be a hassle. But really, at day's end, if your sweetheart's going to be eating healthier, is it really that much of a hassle? Just saying. So that's where I'm at with that, okay? All right, we're going to give this one more taste test. There we go. There we go. See what I'm talking about? It's floppy. Again, is that a word? Anyhow. I'm going to kill the heat and let the boil start slowing down a little bit. All right? Because this is really hot. These are, 97 degrees Fahrenheit, 212. Let's keep the two separate here, okay? Now, if you're, maybe you're a bachelor getting into a relationship for the first time, does anyone still use terminology like that? God, I feel old. Anyhow, if you're a bachelor type and you're going to drain pasta and say you don't have a colander, use a plate, okay? Use a plate. Just get a good solid one, protect your hands, okay? Now, we're gonna, as we come to a slow stop, we're gonna take our stock pot that has the pasta in it. We're gonna come over to the sink. Notice how I put the colander on here, okay? And we're gonna tip it. Please be careful, please be careful. Now you might have to do this a couple of times because it starts getting warm. But please note, I'm doing, if you're worried about burning yourself, it's perfectly okay to wear, some sort of oven mitt. I'm just taking my time. Ta-da! I didn't even lose a strand. Ha! Dang. All right, drop that right in. Wonderful. Set that aside. Now, we have here some nicely done pasta. Please note, I did not hit them with any water, anything like that, okay? And you'll see why in a second. And here, no pasta disaster, okay? It all just falls loosely, which is exactly what we were looking for, okay? Now, I'm gonna take our veggies that we sweat earlier, okay? And we're gonna lay that on, just like that. Just like that. Fantastic. Looks great, doesn't it? All right. And because of, I just wanted something, kind of use some of this up. Good size handful of ham. Now, folks, if you are vegan and eating something like this doesn't suit you, no problem. I got you covered. Change out the ham for slivered almonds. You're still on the health, you're still good to go there. Okay. Now we've got. All right. There you go. Now, remember that vinaigrette I told you all about earlier? Well, here we go. Now, because it is a vinaigrette, it's had time to separate. You can see that right there. Okay. No problem. Which is why we keep these around. Give it a good shake. Pour on the goodness. Don't go crazy with it. The pasta should have it almost like a new car shine when you do this, okay? Anything more than that, it starts turning into soup, and that's not what we're going for, okay? So, nice vinaigrette. And grab my pasta bowl. And since I'm pretty much all by myself right now, I can have as little as I want or a lot. And I'll have enough left. I won't have to cook for a couple of days. Pretty awesome, right? So even if you're just doing this for yourself at home, is it worth it? Heck yeah. And you can put it in the refrigerator. The vinaigrette won't separate it like usual. Something to do with the starch that I have found. And the really awesome thing about this, it microwaves just fine, okay? You got plenty to eat for a couple of days, even if you're doing this by, you're all by your lonesome. Now, any extra additional stuff that we could do? Well, how about some dried cilantro or maybe some dried parsley? Either way. I'm going to go ahead and go with the cilantro. Just a little bit. Don't have to go hog wild. And again, we're right in the healthy zone. Okay? Now, there you have it, folks. Simple pasta. And I'm going to stick around long enough, just long enough, while this is cooling down, to answer some questions, some food questions for you all. And then I'm gonna go ahead and get to eating and taking care of my blood sugar, because it's getting a little low, and we don't need me collapsing on camera. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna sit in the office and chit chat for just a few moments, okay? And I'm even gonna do something I don't normally do. I'm gonna have a soda. There we go. I don't normally drink soda, but we're gonna go ahead and kind of break with tradition here on the channel for once. All right. So there you have it. Okay, we got a total of how many people? 5 people. My goodness. This afternoon's live stream had a lot more people than that. But I think everyone was pretty well waiting to hear, what was going on this afternoon. We're not going to go into that again right now. We have bigger fish to fry right now. Well, we didn't do fish today, but we did pasta. Okay. So, does anybody have any awesome food questions? Wow. We could do, a marinara sometime. That would be fun. Haven't done anything. I got vinaigrettes are simple. They're simple. They keep forever and a day. There's something y'all don't usually get to see me do live. I don't usually just eat on camera, but I am curious how I did. Since it's just me right now. Princess Faye's at work. Yeah. That's good stuff, Maynard. If you follow me on my on Facebook, and I for tonight's live stream, I put up a nice debate for our ladies of the ladies of the Maverick Nation. If you have a husband that can cook like this, would you ever let him leave the house again? That's kind of an ongoing. It's meant as a joke. The reason being is I was actually talking with a coworker. Hi, Michelle. And we were talking about some of the recipes that I've got kind of tucked away in the back of my head that you all haven't got to see here on the channel. And as we were talking, I was telling her about an idea I had that I was still kind of working on for an episode, and she more or less said, if my husband cooked like that, I would never let him leave the house. He would have to stay home forever. And I said, why is that? She's like, because if he left the house, I'd be afraid some woman tried to nab him up. I wouldn't let. She's like, I'm surprised Princess Faye allows you to leave the house since you cook like that. And I said, I think she's considered making me stay home. And the only reason why I'm allowed to work is because we need the money. And the YouTube channel hasn't gotten that big yet. Oh, man. For the record, I love to cook. Of course, I love cars, Real quick, while we're on the subject of surviving romance, a lot of you also hear me repeatedly say, at the beginning of the Prince Magnum channel, this is the channel where hot rodding and romance do coexist. And I'm gonna, if you're new to the Prince Magnum channel, maybe this is your first episode. The reason why I say that, and there's actually a backstory on that, and I'll get into that. I was talking about how I do hot rodding and romance on my channel, and it was a very sweet lady. She was like, "You do hot rodding and romance on you? I don't see how that goes together." I said, and it just hit me all at once. I said, the hot rodding, hot rodding to get their attention, the romance to keep them, and that was how that got started. So that's where, because she said, I'd never thought the two go together. And, just wittingly, just kind of being the witty guy that I am sometimes, I just popped off and said, like that. For those who don't know, now if you have food questions or maybe some romance questions, now would be a great time to ask away. I hate it when the chat goes dead like that. I couldn't see earlier because I was working on food. Again, pasta made this easy. I mean, again, other than the fact that my stove sucks, it probably would have only taken maybe on say like a gas stovetop or a better electric stove. anywheres from 6 to 10 minutes, okay, with that much water. How do you keep the romance alive? Okay. Double check the name. Okay. Let me say right now, okay? And I'm going to assume that you've been married a little while. And you love your wife. You want to keep the romance alive and well, okay? First things first, okay? The stuff that you see me doing here on the channel, let me say this is a big shout out to my own wife, okay? I think deep down, every woman that I have ever talked to, and okay, what you've seen right here tonight would easily translate to a homemade dinner for two, candlelit dinner. If you got kids, now's the time to send them off with the grandparents. Friday night, cook up a nice dinner like that. Put on some soft music, things like that. You know, run the hot bath for the wife and have the candles in the bathroom lit up for her, and that warm hot bath water, maybe laced with just a little bit of, say, something like rose oil or lavender oil, and because of the steam, the whole bathroom fills up with that nice flowery fragrance, and let her soak for a little while, stuff like that, okay? Because at day's end, every woman that I have ever talked to still wants romance even while they're married, okay? And if a guy doesn't challenge himself like this every now and again to give his wife those bragging rights, like what you're seeing here on the channel, it starts going stale, okay? And usually the first thing to go when the romance starts going, when you're not putting in the romantic stuff, taking that initiative, one of the first things to go dead is that bedroom door doesn't close as often as it used to. And every couple I have ever talked to, that's one of the big issues, okay? So take time out, okay? Take time out for the other half, okay? If they're, and do the sweet stuff for it. That's why you hear me say regularly at the end of all of my videos, except for Sober Talk, you always hear me say, if you have a sweetheart, sweep them off their feet, okay? Because, and I hate to say it, if we're not, guys, if we're not putting in the effort, we're not giving them the happy ending that they dreamt about, when they got married. And it's a big letdown. And then pretty soon, we're not getting our happy endings, if you catch what I mean, okay? So romance begins before the bedroom door closes. Does that answer your question? I'm hoping it does, okay? Again, that's just, that's something that I have learned, okay? Something else that I also do, and maybe you might consider doing this, and I do this for Princess Faye regularly. Okay, so and maybe it's something as simple as this, okay? Just opening the car door for your wife, okay? That's something that I do, okay? When we go out together, when we're going out to the car, I'll open the car door for her. When we get to where we're going, maybe we're shopping, whatever, I'll open the car door for her, okay? If she's having a bad day, I will actually make a big scene. I'll pull up right in front of the store, get out, then No. I'm pretty sure, what I'm discussing right now, opening the car door for your other half, my generation, which I come from Generation X, um, our parents kind of started getting away from that, and dads weren't pushing this, okay? And dads weren't pushing this. And then by the time my generation started having, having kids, we, since it wasn't pushed for us, we didn't start pushing it. But I started reading the right books, you know, and I started kind of rethinking things. And I've always had kind of a fascination with the Victorian gentleman and things like, just, you know, uh, kind of that, that whole Prince Charming thing. I kind of had a, kind of a fascination with because I listened, even as far back as my teen years, I listened to women. And it became more and more apparent how much I needed to listen to my other half. When I started getting into when I started working the medical field, because I would take my smoke breaks with all my female coworkers, and that's when I started. I guess you could say the seeds of Surviving Romance, the series, really started to be sown that far back. We're talking in my late teens, early 20s, listening to my female coworkers in the medical field. I started really learning what women liked. Real quick, a big special shout out to an old coworker of mine who was actually my charge nurse in some of my earlier days. Hi, Kitty, if she's watching. Okay. Because some of the things that I used to hear her talk about was kind of started being sowed back then. And and we're talking, this is way back when I was, 18, 19, 20. But start off with simple stuff, opening the car door, okay, for your wife. Uh, Go so far as pull right up in front of the store, park the car, you know, for just a moment, get out, open the door, give her a kiss. I'll see you inside in a moment, then go park the car. Okay? Make a big scene for her like that. Okay? And when you go inside, hold her hand. You know, these are simple things to start with. And before you know it, you start getting those romantic, creative thoughts roaming through your head. What can I do to outdo this? Trust me. I think the best one I had was not, and I wish I would have had some sort of camera to at least capture what I was trying to convey, so you all would understand. One of the best moments that that I think the crowning jewel of any romantic moment that I had was Princess Faye and I didn't feel like doing any cooking that night, and we went over to Deloge Little Caesars, and I had put in a CD, but I had turned the radio off. I had this rigged, okay? I had this set up, and this is back when we had Project Beauty, our '96 Mustang, and when we got to the Deloge Little Caesars, I got out. As I got out, I told her to go ahead and hit the power button to the radio. When it came on, it had hang on, "How Deep Is Your Love" by the Bee Gees playing. So I had this set up where it was stopped perfectly on that song, and then once it started, I grabbed hold of her and slow danced right in the middle of the parking lot in full view of all these people. Started slow dancing with her to that song right in the middle of the parking lot, and it was just that if there was any moment that I would say was the most romantic thing that I have ever done, that was it right there. It that just set. I mean that one of the best moments I ever had. I didn't even have a camera to show you all about it, but I could tell you about it. Here, I'll tell you what, I'll give you an idea I've used before, and this was long before Princess Faye, long time ago. I'll give you one. Go buy your wife a couple of roses. Get it in a vase, wherever you're at. I don't care. Just get a couple of roses in a vase. Okay. Doesn't have to be the full dozen. 3. 2, 3, maybe 4. Something like that. Then buy a fake rose. Okay. Put it down in the middle of all of those, and basically write on a card for this bouquet, I will stop loving you when all of these die. Well, obviously the fake rose can't die, so meaning that you'll love her forever. Okay? Give that a try. I've used that one before a long time ago on a girlfriend, and yeah, that was one of those moments where there was... I heard a lot of boyfriends really hated me after that little stunt. Like, really, dude? Really? Look at this over here. Huh? Doing my part to cause violence from girlfriends to boyfriends, from wives to husbands, everywhere. Anyhow, it's a joke. It's a joke. So does it, again, Jeff? Does that help you any? I'm hoping I've given you some ideas to work with. Doesn't have to necessarily be my idea, my ideas, but if you could take some of it, maybe apply it to your own, or just plain Jane steal them. I don't care, borrow them, however you want to put it, but run with it, okay? Even if you got kids, that's when the challenge is really on, because that's when you really have to put forth that effort a little bit more, okay? So I hope this gives you some ideas, okay? Believe me. Hey, it's my pleasure, okay? I mean, really, this series is its sole purpose is for two things. Number one, its main purpose is a continuous reminder to Princess Faye that I love her, okay? It's her reminder, okay? She's ever feeling the blues, feeling down in the dumps, easily she could turn on Surviving Romance and be reminded how much her husband still loves her, okay? Also, okay, this is something that one I'm not 100% sure on. Okay, I don't. I'll tell you what. Are you, without giving too much information, and I want to protect your anonymity, obviously, as much as possible. Are you guys in your late teens, early 20s, or you older than that? And it's okay, I mean, okay. Some women, right on. Let me, if you guys are in your 30s, the biological clocks are ticking. I will tell you, now would be the time to politely bring it up. Don't push, okay? But something that, baby, I would love for us to have kids, son, daughter, it don't matter. But I would like for us to have kids and discuss why, okay? Maybe for her, she's a little scared. Get her thoughts and feelings on it. Communication, very key in a relationship, okay? Hands down, bar none. Very key in a relationship. Um, again and again and again, you will hear me say, if you're not communicating with them, getting their, ask her why, okay? And maybe build off of that. There's got to be a reason why she doesn't want to, okay? And I've got a funny feeling there's some underlining fears that are in the mix, and that's something you're definitely going to have to get to the bottom of, okay? Something you guys are going to have to address. On the other hand, I will also say that since you guys are both about 30 years old, this is definitely a great time now for you to consider, at least consider that option. Okay, and there's a reason why. I will say something that was passed on to me years ago, when I had when you know, my high school sweetheart had our, you know, gave birth to our second daughter. The gentleman was kind enough to say, uh, you know, when you're young, you know, in your through most of your 20s, you don't have the patience for kids, but you've got the energy to keep up with them. When you get older, you have the patience, but you have no energy. Well, I could see where she's trying to go with this. Um, you know, she's afraid to lose herself. Right now, she's having a good time, just the two of you, okay? Um, but at some point, you know, if you guys are, you know, if you're wanting kids, which it's usually the other way around. I'm used to it being the other way around. Boy, I'm telling my age now. Um, but if you will, um, you know, something I will say when it comes to kids, you give an awful lot of yourself, but you gain a whole lot more back raising kids. I've been a single dad myself before, and you know, it's tough, but I loved every second of it. You know, for the record, I've always heard about single moms that as soon as a guy finds out that, you know, oh, she's single, starts dating, and then all of a sudden, you know, he takes a hike because found out she's got a kid. I've actually had that happen as a single dad, just for the record, where it was, you know, the woman found out that I was raising my son on my own, and poof, gone. Like, it's too much responsibility. So that, you know, watching them grow, watching them grow into young adults. There's something about it, and seeing those aha moments, those epiphanies, seeing where they're learning and just growing as people. That is probably the most rewarding thing. And then, like with my son, uh, and I've told this story before, and I'll tell it again for you. Um, I used to have a 1984 Buick Regal that I had a custom engine in. Um, that I'm kind of going through this whole thing right now where I've had my kids wrongfully ripped away, in your face videos. Um, but they're doing well. They're not here with me, but you know, um, my son Prince Python, without giving away his real name, is stuck in a is kind of stuck in a boarding home because while his mother was pregnant with him, she was doing some pretty heavy drugs. So unfortunately, he'll never truly be able to function in a normal life. But you know, all of them are doing well. You know, and I love my kids. You know, I love my kids. Um, you know, no greater experience than, you know, watching. As a matter of fact, I'm about to really give away my age. For those who do not know, I'm actually 39. August 7th, I had turned 39. And my oldest daughter is actually going to be 17 this next January. My second daughter is going to be 15 in February. Prince Python is going to be 11 in January. So I'm giving away my age. I'm up there, you know. Um, I love kids, you know. I have five of them. I have five children total that I know of. Those are the ones I know about. Ships that pass in the night. um, Using my knowledge of romance, okay? Had to look at Princess Faye when we first got together and say, I wish I could turn back the odometer a little bit, but you know, I can't. You know, and she teases me every now and again saying I was a man whore back in the day, you know. Uh, you know, that's just things, you know. Um, nothing like a little humor about that sort of stuff. But for the record, um, but I hope that answers your question. Maybe this is something that you can bring up to the missus. You know that maybe you two might want to sit down and watch this video sometime together, and that sort of thing. Um, and I think what it might end up boiling down to eventually is that maybe she's afraid it might change the marriage for bad. How many times have we heard, where marriages kind of go sour, once kids are thrown into the mix. And I think a lot of that has to do with us husbands not taking the initiative for romance and, that sort of thing. Okay. So maybe this might help. Maybe this might help after all. Most definitely. But again, bring it up and don't push. If she starts getting upset, don't put at that point, just kind of, it's okay, honey. And, we'll talk about it later. Okay. But, talk to her, be gentle. All right. We don't want to push them away. Okay. That's not the objective here. Be gentle. All right. Let's put it like this. I'll put it like this. When it comes to dealing with our wives, be gentle and loving. When it comes to people who upset our wives, you go hardcore. That's just if you will. There's the bad boy with just a touch with just enough sweetness to not be evil. I got a funny feeling if you talk to her in the right sense, I got a funny feeling you two will. Okay. Gut feeling. I could be wrong, but I got a funny feeling that if you two talk about it and both of you keep a level head about it, I got a funny feeling before you know it, no problem, that's just one of those awesome things. But anyhow, all right. If anybody else got any interesting romance questions for me, throw them out there. Don't be afraid. Because that pasta is calling my name. It's like, eat me. Anyhow. Had just enough of it to kind of slow down the blood sugar dropping, thank goodness, and the soda's helping too. But I wanted to try to answer some questions. Again, I love to cook. And romance is one of my favorite. Right now, currently, yes, I will take care of me. Real quick, I had something really kind of kind of one of those little pearls of wisdom with a little comedy thrown in. Actually, because of the work here on the Prince Magnum channel and all the support from all of you within the Maverick Nation, from those who are die-hard Maverick members of the Maverick Nation to those who are still casual members of the Maverick Nation, because of the work that I've been able to do here on Surviving Romance, there is a small movement happening here in St. Francis County attempting to have me named the most romantic husband in St. Francis County. If you are a serious part of that movement, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank goodness despite the fact that I'm skinny, my shoulders are broad, and I believe I could carry such a title, at least for a while. Again, I want to thank you all, for being a part of that movement. It means the world to me. All right. So let's go ahead and start breaking it down, and I will get to eating that pasta and taking care of the blood sugar. If you've not checked out my Patreon account, please do so. It's under Magnum Prince at Patreon. And any donations will go back into Project Spirit. If you're new to the channel, Project Spirit is my 1975 Ford Maverick that I still daily drive every day. As a matter of fact, November, she will have been a part of the channel for, believe it or not, 3 years. So all the money that goes into that account will go back into her, and we're going to do some awesome things. Basically, when you're donating to that to the Patreon account, everything that I'm doing will just happen faster. Okay, so if you can do so, but if you don't, hey, I understand. We all work for a living, right? Also, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Facebook. And when you follow me on Facebook, you can be a part of some of the debates. You get to know me on a more personal level. You even get to know my real name, okay? And you could even end up, through the process of that, possibly having a nice phone conversation. We'll chit-chat about whatever's on your mind, and even have a few laughs in the process. Unfortunately, if you live outside of the United States or Canada, I can't do that yet. Hopefully, as the channel progresses, we'll be able to do that more. Okay? Let's see. Also, if you like this video, smash that like button as hard as possible so YouTube knows that you are a member of the Maverick Nation. Also, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon. Sometimes YouTube does not tell people whenever I'm going live or uploading a brand new video, which we're working on a setup here where I'll be able to load videos more regularly than I have before, so it won't just be live streams. We've got some car show videos to upload, along with some other stuff that I've been working on. And hopefully soon it wouldn't do them any good to do it right now, but I'll be getting back to work finishing up the mini movie documentary, an In Your Face mini movie documentary, along with I'll be working on just a few other videos like that. So you definitely want to be on the know when videos are being uploaded to the Prince Magnum channel. Let's see, I think that pretty well covers everything for the most part. As always, get out there and work on a project. I don't care what it is, just do something with yourself. Idle hands and a creative mind don't make very good bedfellows, okay? If you have a sweetheart, sweep them off their feet, okay? And as always, for all of you out there, no matter what you're experiencing, okay? If no one out there has told you that they love you today, Prince Magnum does. God bless you, and have a happy 24. Thank you.